Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? Get myself right in this chair. That's all right with me. Coming again on this devil platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely, lovely evening in which the Most High Yah has made. And I, Sister Deborah, share, and I will rest therein. I'm coming today to discuss or to speak on family. I want to cover this because the question was proposed to me regarding family. What is family? I want to first and foremost let one know that there's two families, just as there's two parts to you. There is the flesh and there is the spirit. When family is likened to, okay, there is a spiritual family and there is a natural family. And I want you to understand that confuse 100% of people here on the earth today. It's very confusing to them, and they learn to just live with what they want to believe. You have a spiritual family and you have a natural family. You have a spiritual bloodline and you have a natural bloodline. And this is what the Father says. If Deborah, they cannot see nor understand Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2, they would never be able to master the instruction book as it is written here before us. And it makes a lot of sense because the sin of many rides on those of yesterday. They still have not gripped the difference in Abraham and the difference in Abraham. They still have not gripped the difference in Isaac versus the difference in Isaac. They have not gripped Jacob, the difference between Jacob and the difference between Jacob. They have not gripped the difference between David and the difference between David. They have not gripped the difference between Saul and the difference between Saul. They have not gripped it because they know not that there is a family in the spirit and there is a family in the flesh. That means the flesh has blood and the bloodline in the spirit is spiritual. So when you come up and you trying to master, let's say the ways of David, that's why you cannot ride on Torah, because you can't go into Torah and try to master the ways of Torah. Why? Because the new sheriff came in town usher in things in the spirit. Now we live different than when they lived back then. That's why they couldn't uphold all the instructions and directions the Most High gave them. They could never keep them, y'all. You see? If so, why would David set up for the man to be murdered? Why would David kill his head guy in the military? This is a separate guy. Because it says, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Did not David commit adultery? And even had a baby by a married man, a woman. So David broke all the protocol of, if you want to use commandments. You see? But what was it about David? David was in the family of the Spirit. He was in the bloodline of the Spirit. He was branded in the Spirit. And that is what's going to take him home. Okay? And because of that, today, many people, and I thought of it and I kind of felt, I did feel sad because I said, when it's going back to what you say, Father, it's over and they ain't going to ever get it. No, baby, they're not going to get it. If you just want to take our time and keep going to Hosea, where he said they perish due to what, Deborah? Not getting it. Deborah, go back again. They perish due to what? Not getting it. Deborah, you want to go back again? They perish due to not getting it. But why is it? Why is it that they reject? Because they reject in their flesh that which is spirit and truth. You see? So when we talk about family, you first have to go back to everything. You have to go back to David. You got to go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you got to know the difference between family and the difference between family. And what I'm about to share with you, it's really going to, those that are full of the Ruach HaKodesh, it's going to blow your mind. Even while you're in the midst of being full. Because you're going to say, well, wait a minute, sister. I ain't never heard nobody say it like that. I ain't never heard nobody bring it out like that. And you can listen to what I'm going to say, and you're going to say, it's just that simple. Yes, it is. And because we don't want to walk in the narrow gate that leads to life, and that life leads to righteous, it leads you to the best of what he has birthed in you in righteousness. You see what I'm saying? And we don't want that. I realize the brand that he has branded those in the spirit with, those in the natural wouldn't have wanted anyway. And that bothered me. The fact that they wouldn't want it. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't want the brand of the Most High Yah. That's why they don't have it. Because Yah knows. He knows all things. So he only branded those which shall return back to the Lamb Book of Life. So when you get down here and you want to role play and talk about and pretend and act like it's all about family and my family, and preparing for family, and family this and family that. This is why the world in the position that is in today. Because we're riding on flesh family. And we don't understand there's two families, y'all. There's a family in the spirit and there's a family in the flesh. The family in the flesh, hear me now, goes to the grave and wait there until judgment take the grave and their spirit to the lake of fire. That is for those families in the flesh. So when you running around here thinking that it's all about your family, me and mine, I'm preparing for me and mine. You're walking in the flesh because you haven't had the sense to realize. And it's the sense that you ain't gonna ever have. that the way the Father orchestrated it from heaven is he gave you everything in twos. Okay? You could have lived with one eye. You could have lived with one ear. But if you ever think about the power of my Father's creation, he gave you two. Because everything he does in two. Okay? So when you see people who are really hung up and hung down on family, and when I say family, I'm talking about the bloodline. They think that it's all about the bloodline family. No, it has never been all about Abraham's bloodline family outside of that which is in the flesh. See, the bloodline of Abraham's family only was given and shall be given the promised land, which is land. Okay? That's the bloodline, Abraham, which is the flesh. The bloodline family is flesh. They were given from Yah the land. But then there was another spiritual bloodline of Abraham that falls under righteous belief, faith, and fear. Those that are falling under that category go see Abraham in the kingdom. But the other one that's falling under the flesh of Abraham, you're not going to see nothing but the grave, and after the grave, the lake of fire. Yes, because we first and foremost, I got to say this: we have denied not only just Ahia himself, but his power too. So we denied the two. The only two that gonna get us up and out. We have denied it, not just in our, I can say not just, but in our mind and in our heart. You see what I'm saying? And in the way our actions and in our doings, we have reject the family of the Spirit. And that's why you can hear the Hebrew Israelites and the so-called we the people, we the children, we focus on the family in the flesh. And we call it out over and over and over. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We the true Jews. The Jew is also in the form of the flesh. When they're speaking of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, David and Moses, when they speaking, y'all, they speaking of these characters in their flesh realm. They haven't gripped, and they're not going to because it's over. They haven't gripped, and they're not going to because it's over. They haven't gripped, and they're not going to because it's over. That they are the family in the bloodline. But there's another family in the spiritual bloodline. Now, what he did, he connected both together and brought each down. And what he did, he made sure he kept a trail of them. David, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of them, Solomon. He kept a trail of who? The ones that are not just in the bloodline of the flesh, but they were also in the bloodline of the Spirit. Yah always kept a trail on the bloodline that was in the flesh, that was sealed in the bloodline of the Spirit. When you go to Matthew chapter 1, when you go to Matthew's chapter 1, this is what you see. And it says, the book of the generations of Yeshua HaMashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham. And if you look at all of these names, all the way to verse 16, okay? You see? All the way to 16, no, let's go to 17. You will see all of those are the spiritual bloodline. They came down with this: righteous belief, faith, and fear. But what else were they? They had a flesh bloodline, a flesh family bloodline, and they had this here, which is a spiritual bloodline. Okay? That's why it was named in Matthew's, all the ones that was branded for the Most High's sake, namesake, by the blood of the Spirit. Okay? So if you look at Matthew's, it tells you, Matthew's chapter 1, my book has a big, dark, black star. What about your book? Is it a dark star right at Matthew's chapter 1? In my book, it has a star there. It has a star. And what it's saying is, it was telling the called, the chosen, the appointed ones, those that he said, if it was so, it will fool the very elect. He's letting you know that you need to dig in to Matthew's chapter 1, read it all the way down to Matthew's chapter 1 from 1 to 17, and you will see all the ones that came down with the spiritual bloodline. These are the ones that's falling under the spiritual bloodline. Like unto, let's go to Matthew chapter 1. Matthew chapter 1, it says, the book of generations of Yeshua HaMashiach. Yeshua HaMashiach. What do you see in there? Yeshua, born of a son of man, born of a woman, flesh. Okay? And he had who? Christ, which was the Ruach, not the Ruach, which was the power of Yah, the word, and the spirit. And listen to what it said. The book of generation of Yeshua HaMashiach. And then it wants you to understand all these names are those who came down branded with the spiritual bloodline. Okay? So what we don't understand is the spiritual bloodline is a spiritual family. Okay? The spiritual bloodline is a spiritual family. Okay? So what does that family fall under? Yeshua HaMashiach. They fall under that. Okay? So when you talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you talk about David and Moses and Solomon, you got to understand one thing. And if you ever thought to read Matthew chapter 1, tell me if you see Moses in there. Tell me. It says here, the book of generation of Yeshua HaMashiach. The generation of Yeshua HaMashiach. Those are the spiritual family, y'all. But where is Moses? Can you just let me know if you see him? Whenever you get a chance someday, let me know. Say, Sister Deborah, I see him in there. Show him to me. Okay? He's not listed. That's why I tell y'all, I can't go back to Torah and eat it up and eat it down. Because they bent up and down in it. They don't get it. So what are you saying, Deborah? Okay, here even in Matthew's chapter 1, the Father is showing you the family that is founded under the bloodline spiritual. The spiritual bloodline is what I mean. The family, that spiritual bloodline. These same ones that were spiritual bloodline, guess what? They had the natural bloodline family. They had a natural family like you and I on this side when they were living. And even when they died, they had family. But that family is not going to enter in this kingdom because they some kin to them. No, said the Most High Yah. They're not just going to roll up in there because they're Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because they David's seed. They're not going to roll up in there. Because family is not what you think it is. It never was. He gave me some examples to you're born. That's the time to cry. Because this child, just a few days old and already full of trouble, is already waiting for it. But Deborah, when you pass away and you sleep, you ought to rejoice. In a sense, die, right? But what he's saying is, they switched that. They have parties. They have all kind of adult parties because a baby is being born. But when they die, they boo-hoo it. He said this is an example of how we as people have it real bad, switching his word to what we want it to say and fit our natural bloodline. And that's what we do. So there's a family in the natural and there's a family in the spirit. Okay? The one that's in the spirit is going to have what your spirit has if your spirit is branded by the Most High God. And when you see in my Bible, in Matthew chapter 1, there's a dark star there. And it's to remind me to really pay attention to when I read that. So when I paid attention to it, I end up, let me show y'all the picture. I'm going to show y'all something. And I did this years ago. When I paid attention to what he was telling me, I don't know if you can see this. There go the star. You see the star? And you see this here? This is what he had me to do. You all can't see it. That's each one of their names. Guess what he had me to do? He had me to take each one of those names in Matthew chapter 1 all the way down to verse 16 to 17. In Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 to 16 to 17. Take each one of their names and then look it up and get the spiritual part of who they were. And I love it. I love it. It's something before they got down here. They had something in heavens that connected them to the heavens. They played a role in the heavens. You see what I'm saying? That's before they got down here. So that's why it's important that we do not chase behind David, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Solomon, Moses, Jeremiah, all of those people that y'all used. You can't go chasing behind them because you're chasing the ways of their flesh. You're trying to be a family to them in the flesh, and you're chasing their flesh. You see? That's why we can't chase their flesh. We got to really focus on who they were in the spirit realm. Now, wouldn't you think that would be the Father's will, that we know who they are in the spirit? You think y'all really want us to focus on who they were in the flesh? No, he wants you to focus on, in spite of who they were as the flesh, I knew them in the spirit and I branded them. That's how he told Abraham in the vision, bro, you already counted in as righteousness. You already counted in there. When was he counted? It was written in heaven that he was added in. So it was like no matter what goes on with them, they already branded to return back to the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? Because they're from the family of the kingdom of the Father. Let's put it like that. They're from the family of the bloodline from the kingdom of heaven. You get it? And they're here. They were a bloodline for the flesh on the earth. And we know where the flesh goes. But if you can read Revelation chapter 20, and it'll tell you the grave, what they call hell, which is the grave, y'all gonna pick that up and toss it straight into the lake of fire. So he's gonna deal with your spirit. When your spirit let your flesh rule it, then when you be judged, you will be judged based on the work of your flesh that ruled your spirit. Your flesh ruled your spirit. And that's what you're going to be judged. Why? Because you already been judged. Y'all already judged you. You just missing something. So there's two families, y'all. There's the family of the flesh, and then there's a family of the spirit. Now we're going to go into the lesson. Okay? And let's start with Matthew chapter 12. In Matthew chapter 12. But I'm telling you all, a lot of you all won't pay any attention to what I'm saying when I'm trying to tell y'all in Matthew chapter 1. Yeah, let me tell y'all something. That there whole chapter 1 has taken me a long ways in walking and understanding the Most High Yah. Oh, yes, because she's letting me know. Now, see, everybody else that's saying this, they did. I don't care what they say. This is something else. When you see in Matthew chapter 1, you see all the ones that are family bloodline of the spirit. And I try to explain to y'all when they talk about Naomi and Ruth, I mean, they got a lot of things they got to say about Naomi and Ruth, but what they didn't understand is the connection to the Most High Yah wasn't Ruth and Naomi and Ruth. It was Bozak. Praise the mighty Yah. Let me see what his name. Let me go back here and see who he was. 1 minute. I'm just gonna go back and see if I can see. Probably I bet you it's on that other sheet. Let me see. Strengthened. That's who Bozak was. Bozak was strengthened. That's who Bozak was. Strengthened. Before he got down on the earth, he was labeled as strengthened. So that's who Bozak was. And if you look over here in Matthew chapter 1, and you can find his name in verse 5. See, but it tells you Bozak, and it tells you of Ruth. But it's not telling you that Ruth was the spiritual, how would I say it? The spiritual bloodline family. See, Ruth wasn't connected to that spiritual bloodline family. It was about Bozak. Even though I'm sure she's one of the father's chosen, chosen, but what Yah was trying to do is keep us in our understanding while we're here on the earth in the flesh, understand. And that's why do you think he said in all your getting? He never said knowledge. In all your getting wisdom. In all your getting, he said, get understanding. Because that's the key. Because the Ruach HaKodesh fall under all understanding. So when you don't get understanding, you just got what you think you got, you still out there lost in the deep blue sea. And you cannot see dry land. So I like it that because I always, when I read the story of Ruth and Naomi and all of that, I said, when see, Father, they got this bent. He said, yeah, they've been bent it up, Deborah. I'm not saying that they don't have it. He said they've been bent that up. I said, so it was always Bozak, what you was trying to connect back to what you wanted us to understand, but they didn't get it. They didn't get it like that. They didn't catch it. Okay, so here we are in Matthew chapter 12, verse 48 through 50. In Matthew chapter 12, verse 48 through 50. Just hear this here. Verse 48. And it reads, but he answered and said unto him that told him. First of all, I think we have to go to 47. I'm sorry, Matthew chapter 12, verse 47, because we got to hear what this individual is actually saying to Yeshua. Listen to what he says. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brother standeth without, desiring to speak with thee. Now, I'm showing you the difference between, I want y'all to hear this now. Listen to this. This is the difference between family in the flesh bloodline and family in the spiritual bloodline. Let me say that again because I know it went over your head. I can tell you that right now. Right here, they are saying to Yeshua, verse 47, Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren standeth without, desiring to speak with thee. Now, don't forget now, look at mother there. Look at mother. Why? Because this is flesh bloodline. It'll never, ever, ever override spiritual bloodline. Never will it override. And that's why I tell y'all, I appreciate the Most High not allowing anyone to cut in between that. You will never hear nobody preach it. You will never hear nobody teach it. Not the way Sister Deborah finna break it in and out. Now watch this. Verse 48. But he answered and said unto him that told him, You would call it disrespectful, saying that to his mom. No, baby. No, he have every right. She's flesh bloodline. I'm trying to get y'all to see the spiritual bloodline. These that are with me was given to me by the Father himself. So listen to what he said in verse 48. But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother? And who is my brother? I think that was really disrespectful. If I didn't know any better, I would think that would be disrespectful if your mother and your brother and them just want to speak to you, want to say something. And you just come out, who is my mother? And who is my brother? My brother. But he's sending a point. He's sending a message to those that are out there that are chosen as his servants in this day and time. This is so important because it takes you out of how you feel you have to worship and serve your fleshly family over your spiritual family. And that's exactly similar to what he was telling me when I told him I was going to pour down off of GoFundMe. He said, you can definitely do that because now you already were able. You were already able to know the fruit of those that bear. You know what you're dealing with. And that's the same way here. He's telling them that, wait a minute, they my fleshly family. So who are they? Who is my mother? Who is my mother? What did he say? Who is my mother? Who is my brother? This is what Yeshua said. Now listen to what he says. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother, my sister, and my mother. I'm on this devil platform just giving you all food on a spiritual plate. But are you my spiritual sisters and brothers? Think now. You'll know them by the fruit. Because they won't put the natural over the spirit. Hallelujah. And that's what Yeshua is telling them. What did he say? Let's hear him say it in verse 48. But Yeshua did. He answered and said unto them, him that told him your mother and your brother is standing wanting to speak to him. He said in 48, but he answered and he said unto him that told him, he said, who is my mother? Who are my brethren? Now listen to this, 49. He stretched forth his hand, hallelujah, toward his disciples and said, behold my mother and my brethren. Verse 50. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father in heaven, The same is my brother, my sister, and my mother. He checked them. What you mean them? Because the disciples was there. He wanted to show them, you are my true brothers and sisters. Not my natural mama and brother, but you all are. That I learned as a teenager, you guys. I learned that as a teenager. I learned that the spiritual one are my eternal family. They are my true brothers and sisters. Those that's in the flesh, role playing, faking till they make it, they want to say with their mouth, but he said their fruits, tails on them every time. But he's telling them the difference. Yeshua is telling them, now we got a natural bloodline and we got a spiritual bloodline. That's family, y'all. It's two families. Which family are you going to walk in, and the gate that you're going to walk in with? The family of the natural. Because in your mind, you live for your family on this earth. You live for them. You'll die for them, not even knowing that they were just here just like you were for a appointed time to come and to go. But if they are of the spiritual bloodline, then they are your eternal brothers, sisters, mother, or whatever. But see, 99 point trillion would never think to teach that in that order, because they want you to think it's up to you. You got a choice. You got a free will. The only free will you have is if you got to use the bathroom. A lot of people can't even hold it, can't even control it. But if you got to use the bathroom, you got a free will to take your tail on that toilet and use it. Out of that, baby, you ain't got no free will. You got a will that been orchestrated for you from the works that was already in the heavens. Read Revelation 20. Your works are in heaven, already locked up and locked down. That means you can clown down here and pretend you all holier than thou, but heaven got your true works up in the heaven. And that's going back to what I was saying. He said, you already know them by their fruit. That was a part. See, people don't understand. He's talking to, let me tell y'all this. He's talking to the spiritual bloodline. He's talking to the spiritual bloodline. He's talking to the spiritual bloodline family. He's not talking to the flesh bloodline family. He's talking to the spiritual bloodline family. He's saying to the spiritual bloodline family, you're going to know them by their fruit. That's it. And I like how he did this, because he not only said, who, behold, my mother and my brother. He said, when you see the disciples, he stretched his hand to disciples and he says, behold, that means, look, this is my mother and my father, these disciples in here. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother, sister, and mother. See, we are riding this thing called natural family. We so hooked up and hooked down and believing that it's all about the natural. That's why people can't do nothing for nobody. That's why people can't help the needy. They can't help the homeless. They can't help the sick. They can't visit the sick. They can't do anything because they think life only surrounds me and mine. And with that mindset, I'm going to tell you right now, your destiny is already in the lake of hell. Because your whole mindset is saying, me, and mine. And guess what? The Most High don't have no problem with that. Just understand. That's your flesh bloodline that you're worshiping and you serving. So where your heart is, that's where you're going to float to. And know, when you get there, this is the gate that you walk through. Because I love what he said here. It means, and you know what? You won't get the pastors, the bishops, you won't get nobody to preach that thing in righteousness. Because guess what, y'all? The family in the bloodline of the spirit, guess who they are? They're righteousness. Yah is righteous. He is righteousness. And those that fall under the bloodline of the spirit family are righteousness. And we're going to go there. Because what did he say? He said, train up a child in the way that he should go. And I'm like, wait a minute, you better come on, give him something else. He said, no, you give it to him. That's what I got you here for. You give it to him. Okay, let me give it to him. Let me give it to him. Train up a child in righteousness. And when they get old, they won't depart from righteousness. You see? But you train them up in what? Righteousness. Because you can't train them up in a way that they should go, as if you know the perfect way is your way. It ain't your way, baby. So you can't train them up in the way you said that they go, or way you see fit to go. No, he's talking about in righteousness. Train them up in righteousness, because that's the way they have to go. That's the way they need to go. And when they get old, see, he connected a child, a baby, all the way to old. He connected the beginning to the end. If you train them up in righteous here, they're going to have righteous here. Praise the mighty Yah. Because Yah is righteousness. So the family of the bloodline of the spirit is righteousness, baby. So you can't take that one and connect it to the family of the bloodline, because you had them and you took care of them and you raised them and you making that one. And that's where the world couldn't grip. Nobody in the world could grip. That's why he was able to say, narrow is the gate that leads to life, and broad is the gate that leads to destruction. Because he knew the people who hold firm to the belief that flesh family is more important than anything. They will kill for their family. They will steal for their family. Mothers will give their children and take care of their children even if they wrong. They won't back them up when they wrong. They will stand by them side and they will stand by their side in evil and wicked. That's what family do. Why would you think he had to take every last one of them in Matthew chapter 1? The majority of, probably 90%, probably more than that, had to come from away from their family. He couldn't let Abraham stay with his family. He couldn't let David stay with his. See how Yah rumbles? That's how he rumbles. Moses, he took Moses from his mama when he was born. See how Yah set the pace? Y'all don't get it, do you? What belongs to him, he get them away from their family. Hallelujah. Tell me, I don't know what I'm talking about. He gets them away from their family because he knows the work that he has invested in them has to be manifest in the spirit realm, because they are branded by the spirit. So therefore, according for them to do the work of Yah, he had to take them from their family. Look at Joseph, brother and father. He took them from Aaron, and the brothers put him away and didn't go back to check on him. Said, you know, you would think you would lay down for a minute and you would say, no, let's go right back. Let's go. They did go back, but he was too late. And you would think they would go searching for him. But that's your brother. That's your family. Why didn't they go looking for Joseph? Why didn't they go searching until they found their youngest brother? That's your family. That's your blood. That's what family is. So y'all got an issue with the bloodline family because they have taken so many people away from the spiritual bloodline to the point where y'all said, you know what, Deborah, you tell the people about me branding mine for my name's sake. But what you do not know, Deborah, this is why I had to brand mine. I had to brand them before they came down, Deborah. I had to. Because you see how on the earth family, everybody thinks family is all this and all that. Family is it. You mess with my family, my family, my family. And the women take the kids and they give them everything. They do everything from them for them. But guess what, baby? The end game to that is exactly what was told to us in the instructions and directions. It was already written. He wasn't concerned about his mother when he was being crucified. He told who was down there. I forgot who it was. Thy mother. Let him know, here is she yours. Why? Because now it's flesh time. She's yours. I'm spiritual. I got to go. That's when you know people about their father business in heaven. When they're able to recognize who they are in Yah. That's why it doesn't, I don't think I'm going to ever be, I know I ain't going to ever be able to be up under the flesh of man's teaching and rulership, because the way that they rule in the flesh. Look at polygamy. They took polygamy out of the flesh of man and mimic it, and it had no spirit to it. Look at every last one of those examples. You all never will go back and hear what happened to David and his wives. Nobody will go back and study it. That's why I think it's kind of sad. Because when you go back and study, you realize these people is crazy if they think that that's the life that Yah created. Look at Jacob. These women were battling who gonna have a baby. And they went and got other women to lay down with them. And you gonna tell me that's justified and clarified, that's identified, that's the will of the Father? Come on now, y'all. Because he wanted to bring the bloodline of Jacob. Jacob was gonna bring the bloodline, whether this or that. But what they didn't understand, all mankind brought forth the seed of the flesh and the seed of the spirit. That's how stupid they are. Just because you're the 12 tribes of Jacob, so right behind. That's the only nation the 12 tribes have disrespected the Creator since the beginning of time. And you sitting around here talking about the 12 tribes. Oh, that's how he brought forth the 12 tribes. Baby, please. You're going to see the beast. You're going to see the Antichrist. You're going to see the false prophet who brought them forth. It's truly some woman and a man's sperm. But you ain't going to say that it is the righteous will of the Father, because Abraham brought forth 12 tribes. And Jacob, when he died, he laid it on them. They didn't even want to come to his bedside, because they knew he was going to tell them what was going to befall them in the last days wasn't going to be good. That's why they didn't want to come. But the Spirit of the Most High said, sons of Jacob, come before your father to hear what he has to say. They wasn't going to come, but the Spirit of the Most High wind that thing up. Why? Because it was his hour. He had to get up and get out. That y'all had already assigned him, and he forced them in, not in the force of putting his hand behind hurting their arm and forcing, but by spirit, he forced them to stand before Jacob, so Jacob can tell them. He even told Simeon, I think that's his name, this oldest son, how wicked and evil he was, and he is. He told Jacob, you know what? Let me tell y'all something. You know what he told Jacob? You's a lazy son. That's what he told him. Go and read it. No, y'all don't want to read it. Y'all want some man to lie to you and tell you something opposite. When the Spirit of the Ruach would give it to you, show it where it's at, and then put it in your spirit so you'll know, and nobody can come and lie to you about what happened. They are lazy. An old lion crouched down, just sitting down. And that's what you see today. The tribe of Judah, same way. That's what he said, not with Jacob. That wasn't Jacob. It was the tribe of Judah. Jacob said that about the tribe of Judah. And then when you see that, what Jacob said, told him what was going to happen, that's exactly what's going on today. And we went around here trying to make these men kings, queens, kings, leaders, and rulers, and putting them up on pedestals. For what? Deuteronomy 18 didn't tell you to do that. Deuteronomy 28 didn't say that. Deuteronomy 28 got a mean end game. And now one of them want to teach it to you. And they won't get on this devil platform, not a man or a woman, and teach Deuteronomy 28 end game. I don't care if they think they're a prophet, a prophetess, an apostle, a bishop, a teacher, a pastor, a seer, a moral. They won't get on here and tell y'all spirit and truth. because they don't have spirit and truth. And even if they did lie so much, they can't convert everything they didn't lie about. They won't convert it, and they can't, because it's not in them to do what is right. So family is not what you think it is. It is what you think it is when you in the flesh. But where do that flesh go? To the grave. And where do that grave go? In Revelation 20, straight to the lake of fire. And where do your spirit go? It stand before the Father, and he tell you, hey, this is what I got down on your works. And your works ain't what you trying to get on the earth and do to deceive and make people think you spirit and truth, and you holy, and you got the light, baby. You can fake it till you think you're gonna make it, and you ain't gonna make it. Because in this day and time, when he sit and said it's finished, he means all that bull crap, y'all. You better kick it to the side. You better be about your Father in the heavens business if you are called, appointed, anointed, and predestined to walk in the will of the family of the spirit bloodline. And you can know them. Like he said, you know them by their fruit. They wouldn't buckle up and buckle down to what you're saying, and then they would support. But when you see, I told you, but I have to show you. I have to show you. It's many verses in the instructions and direction telling you that. But when Yah show you and let you go through it, can't nobody tell you nothing. He said, you know them now. He said, now you know. Because if you ever think, who is you talking to when you say they? You are no they. Who is you? Who is you? Who are you talking to? He's talking to his servants, his elects. You're going to know them by their fruit. And when you know their fruit, there's no trust. There's no trust there. Don't even think. So you already know. That's what people, they really think that Yah has son he is down here in such a weak state of mind, because the world and flesh have done so much wicked and evil. They don't think it's any good on the earth. They don't think it. And they think, oh, he can't see nobody. And if he do, I won't believe it. Because I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Surely that person ain't that. That's the mindset of the flesh. That's why they won't enter into the realm of the spiritual family, because their minds are so set. And this is why he said in Deuteronomy 28, Deborah, until they are destroyed. See, they won't reach that. They won't go out and dig and look. They won't even read it. You will never get nobody on this devil platform teaching that thing. You ain't going to get them. They'll run so fast away from it and never preach it to the church, the congregation. They will not teach it to the multitude. They won't even teach the day that Jacob was dying. His hour was near. And when he told his sons to come, so he can tell them what will befall them in the last days, they refuse to come. But then you hear the Most High in the background charging them, sons of Jacob. You can hear it because he summed it up and called Jacob Isaac. Not Isaac. Your father, was it Isaiah? That's Isaac. No, Isaiah. That's what he said. I couldn't believe that. Wait a minute, is that you? Is that you, Father Yah? Father Yah, is that you in the background? Father Yah. I said, is that you? I said, is that you in the background? And lo and behold, it was the Father telling them to get their butts up there and listen to what Jacob had to say to them. They didn't want to listen. Why? Why didn't they want to listen? Because they know now one of the tribes, those men, now one of those 12 tribes, those men was worth a dime. And we run around here trying to put them on the highest pedal. Now, this is what you don't understand. Sister Deborah trying to get y'all to really understand. Now, in the tribes, the 12 tribes, this is what the Father said. Deborah, tell them in the 12 tribes, I have those that's in there that also are coming through Abraham. How are they coming through Abraham? Through the spiritual bloodline. Because they are listed under the same spiritual bloodline as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But if you think for 1 minute your nasty tail's coming through the flesh to get to the Most High Yah, you's a lie from the pit of hell. So Yah got heads that's going to come back to him out of the 12 tribes. The majority of people who going to come is going to come out of the 12 tribes, but they come in this route because they are the ones that's coming in that been branded in the family with the spiritual bloodline. You see, that's just letting you know he still had a small remnant in Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that came in through Abraham that way. Through the which way? Abraham, he said, you in there, Abraham, you in the righteous. They came in through the same righteous because Yah had branded them. So it's not like the tribes of the tribe of Jacob. I mean, the 12 tribes are not going to enter into the kingdom. There are going to be those that are going to enter in, but it's not going to be the multitude. It's going to be the narrow gate. You see, he's still constantly trying to get y'all to understand. All of y'all tails ain't coming up in here. He said, y'all don't understand. Abraham had more children than Isaac and Jacob coming from that end. He had children by Hagar. So everybody thinking that because they are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that they coming in. Baby, no, you look in the bloodline of the flesh. That's a family of the flesh. Where's the family of the spirit? You got to come in through the brand of righteous belief and faith and fear that is branded, which was branded in Abraham before the foundation of the world. Now, that's how those that's coming back to Yah is coming back out of the 12 tribes. That's how they're going to make it back. Do you all know there are people who can hear what you're saying, but it's so powerful and hurtful that they run? They run because it's too heavy. Because when you've been branded to believe for so long a teaching of a person and you put all your trust in the person, you will not turn to righteousness. You would not turn to Yah. You would not turn to the righteous will of the Father. You're going to continue down where you're going to head. And at the end, guess what? You ain't going to be nowhere near those that came in through the right door. You're going to go straight back. And he said, the Father said, and Deborah, they don't even understand. It is written, their works. So that it's not going to be, you're going to come tell me, you can't tell me nothing. I had you wrote down before you got down. I had you wrote up and down before you got down. So I wrote you up when I put you down onto the earth. And you're going down when I'm done with you. Because see, we really think he's the dumb one and we the smart one. Okay, let's go there. So in Matthew's, I like that because he's actually talking about family. Another part of family, when he said train up a child in the way that he should go. Let's go there. Proverbs 22 and verse 6. See, and this is like a lot of people saying, prepare, get this and get this. It's nothing wrong with having stuff because of the things that's going to take place. But when you finish, baby, you're going to prepare and you're going to have hell right where you prepare. You're going to have hell because a lot of people think that if I could exclude or take minds and teach minds and bring them the way of this and that and the way I see it, and then you thinking that they're all going to enter in because you have chosen, baby, they were already written in one of those books. So it ain't going to even be up to you. Make sure you crossing your T's and dotting your I's as a mother and father. All you know you have to do, he said, train them up in the righteous way. That's what he's talking about because you don't know no way. So you would have to train them up in. He would have to be talking about the righteous way. He ain't talking about just any way y'all want to train them up in. He said, train up a child. He's letting you know the child versus when they get old. He's giving you their life. If you train that child up in righteousness, when they get old, it won't depart. He'll die in righteousness. You see? Oh, they don't get that, baby. That's too over their head. Okay. Proverbs 22 and verse 6. Proverbs 22 and verse 6. And it says, train up a child in the way he should go. How is it we know the way if we have not gone in the way? So the way is the way of righteous. And it says, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. You have to see the key of child and old. He spent his whole life. But if you train him up in what is righteous, then when he get old, it shall not depart from him. You see? So it's going back to righteous. Family is righteous. If the mother is the only one in that household, she has to train her child up in righteous. If a father and a mother, they got to train their children in righteous, but they too themselves have to be in righteous. You can't train a child in righteous if you ain't walk, talk, and live and breathe and sleep in righteous. You can't turn around and train them. You see how deep it is? And when we tell you how deep it is, what do you see in the world today? That's the carbon copy of it not being done right. That's what you see in the world today. It's because it never was done right. Now, let's go to Matthew chapter 10. In Matthew chapter 10, in verse 34 through 39. Let's see what Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 and 39. And the reason why I'm speaking on this topic is I believe that is one of the greatest falling is when we continue to believe family is greater than those that are in the spirit realm, working as servants of the Most High God. And when people can't detach themselves from that, let me tell you why. Oh, it's been about 25 years, my husband, brother. He has his sister and them he always talked about the things that they are doing. And y'all, I'm talking about off the chain, y'all, off the chain. But yet he felt that their relationship with them and him making sure they taken care of and making sure he there in spite of the things that they're doing. You see, he's calling them. And the sad part is the Most High never let him be accepted at all in society. Never let him be accepted right now. Pretty much now don't even have a place to lay his head. Gray hair, I mean, it's white as snow and just wandering on the earth because you keep rejecting truth. You think your sister and them that's doing everything from selling drugs and everything, and you sit in amongst them and think that that's right because they your blood sister? Oh, no, baby. But that's what it is in these households. They think their children is right. Their sons is right. You know, husband think their wife is right. The wife thinking their husband is right. Ain't no balance. Because they don't understand y'all all in the family of the flesh. Because if you're in the family of the spirit, that house will be in order. How you like him now? That house will be in order. And anything out of order, it won't be in that house. You bet that. Because the righteousness that's rests in that house, it will cause that which is unrighteousness to flee. And it can give you no problem. This is what he's saying. Choose this day in whom you want to serve. I think one of the biggest problems in this whole world that is detached to the Father is everybody think he's the dumbest thing that ever exists. Nobody can tell me that people don't think like that. They do. What did he say? By their fruit, by their actions, by their thinking, the way they conduct themselves, the way they walk, they talk, they act, shows I done gave them food on their plate. I done gave them an instructions and direction book. I done gave them all of myself. And they still follow the way of the flesh because they think their family it's my way. They going in my way, in the ways of Yah. Now, this is what he said in Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 39. And it reads, starting with 34. Think not that I am, hallelujah, come to send peace on the earth. Be not of the world. Be in it, but not of it. The world is the earth. Why do you think that he coming to bring peace on the unrighteous? Why do you think that he's coming to bring peace in these fleshly lifestyles? Yeshua here, sure shooting it up. Listen to what he said. Verse 34, Matthew chapter 10, 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. He ain't come to send no peace on the earth. The earth is the world. He said, be in the world, but not of it. Because you branded for my name's sake. But what we want to do, we want to follow the way of the world and call it righteous. That's what we're doing. And we're denied 24. We want to be in the world and of the world and call it righteous. When he sent his servants in this day and time, you best bet he gave them every tool they're going to need to walk up and down this earth. What do he look like not giving them the tools? He sent them down here. And not give them the tools they're going to need to walk up and down this nasty earth today. That's why I say you're messed up from the floor, because you believe what you want to believe in your flesh, because that's where your pleasure is at. That's where your joy is at. That's where your happiness is at. Now listen to where Yeshua is at. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 34, think not that I come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. That sword is spirit and truth. It is the righteousness of who he is. It cut into anything that is not. Now listen to this, 35. For I come to set a man at vengeance against his father. Well, wait a minute, hold up, Father, y'all. That's family. Wait a minute. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are forefathers. That's our father. That's our mother. You said honor our mother, honor our father. What's going on here? Listen to what he say. Verse 35. For I come to set. When you set something, you placing it the way it's going to be. You setting it the way it's going to be. And can't nobody do nothing about it. So what did he say? I come to set a man at vengeance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Verse 36. And a man's folks shall be, and a man's folks shall be they of his own household. Family. That's why this message is called family. Because you've been up and you've been down. There's two families, y'all. There's two families. There's a family of the bloodline of the flesh, and there's a family of the bloodline of the spirit. Which family are you? And who do you belong to? I thank the Most High for Yeshua saying this, because this here, even him saying it, it ain't going to affect nobody. Because when people are in the world and they have become of the world, can't nothing get through them spiritual, because they so stuck on the norm of the world to where spirit can't even do nothing for them. So they remain there. Now here, he's sitting here letting you know. But I come to what? To set something up, Deborah. Tell them. I come to set it up. A father against his son. And a daughter against a mother. And a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's folks shall be they of his own household. Verse 37. He that loveth his father or his mother than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth his son or his daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Verse 38. And he that taketh not up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Verse 39. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life shall find it. That right there is separating the two families right there, baby. It did an awesome job. It separates the two families. There's a family of the flesh and there's a family of the spirit. That's why he wanted us to unite together and get with those of the light. Because when you get with those of the light, guess what you're going to have up in there, y'all? You're going to have a brother and even a sister that if they told you you have cancer, when you get over here to this family here, they lay hands on you. You go back to the doctor, they say, what happened to it? We don't see it. This is the difference. All the gifts of the Spirit was given by Yeshua, Hamashiach, which is the body, the head of the body. That's the power. It given all the gifts to those that are born spiritual bloodline. They are spiritual bloodline family that has been given these gifts to work in a spiritual body while Christ being the head of the body, which is power. But those on that side who have believed, it's just like he said they have reversed everything to the way that pleases their flesh. And it's so, I used to think that it's so hard to come out of that way, but I realized, Deborah, it is written that this is it right here. While we're trying to fake it till we make it, we're trying to think we can pull a rug over his head. And he's like, look at him. They don't even think I know. They don't think you know. They don't think I'm dealing with you. They don't think this about nothing, because they think they got it and gone. They think they got it and gone. And here what Yeshua is saying is awesome, because he letting you know when a mother is against her daughter, a mother is against the daughter-in-law, guess what? That ain't in her. No righteous. If the father is against his son, there's no righteous there. So if Yah is not in the midst, he is righteous, then all this chaos is supposed to happen. So that's why you see the world the way that it is. It makes a lot of sense to me. That's why you see things the way that it is. And you know, only thing that I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about this, only thing about the way things are going on, and like I told you, I can see what's coming, is the fact that it's coming. And everybody that's is at a standstill wants to play like they in la la land and that things are not actually taking place. Then guess what that tells me? as a prophetess in the wilderness, it's going to be worse than even what I can even see. Because he got to get one to see. And that's why I see why all these different things he's going to pull out of the bottomless pit. All these different things going to come up on the earth. I see why. Because he has to come from the deep end of his power to wake and shake people. But I think that the main one is going to be when they realize that this country has been sold out to Satan and that they don't have any more of anything, and everybody going to be going after each other. All that stuff, if you think that you're going to be able to handle it, see, that's what they think. Oh, I cross that bridge when I get there. Oh, baby, let me tell you something. There's not going to be a bridge for you to cross. You're going to be in there. It's going to be life or death. And you best bet it's going to be most likely death. Because when it all sung, he already done told us. This land has got to come down. And I believe that this land is already assigned by the right hand of Satan to those that he has given the power to do. I believe that it has already been assigned how they're going to bring this land down to the debris. They got plans. And I can see what they're doing. And because I don't see nobody doing anything about it, that bothers me. Because I'm like saying, he said, but Deborah, these people been like this. This ain't today. What are you talking about? They'll tell you somebody's bothering them, but they was like that before they even came over to in captivity. Deborah, have you not read where you been? How many times I put them in captivities? How many times I had to destroy them, kill them by great numbers? They don't get it, Deborah. They don't get it. Because long as they got somebody to blame, as long as they got somebody to blame. I don't know if it stops. They content with going on through life, skipping and jumping. Okay, now let's go to Luke chapter 12. And I think Luke is just going to give us its side. Now, you notice how in Matthew it was telling you the chaos in the family. We'll turn around and try to fix that. We'll turn around and try to use money and finances and all kind of ways to fix what already been prophesied. Because we think we can fix that. You can't fix the ways of the flesh. Only thing can fix the ways of the flesh is that which is righteous, which is God. And if you don't train them up in righteous, then you know that they can't be trained in righteous. And that's a lot of things you can see. Everything is just clear. I hear these women everywhere I go. Men now. Women too. What their sons is doing. How the sons is tearing up the houses. Taking the father's car, crashing it. All these things. Daughters too. All this stuff is total out of control. But didn't he tell you that? See, the strange thing is, for thousands of years, the warning been a warning. But no one has no respect for what he's saying. We just think, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. He's the dumbest creator in the face of the earth. He don't know. Even though it's sitting here right in our face, we still look at him as the dumb one, and we the smart one. So in Luke chapter 12, I noticed it had, let's go to Mark. Did you put down Luke? Let's go to Mark chapter 3, verse 33. And we just going to see something right here in Mark. Chapter 3 and verse 33. We just going to go over and see what Mark, it's in Luke, all of them giving their understanding of what Yeshua was saying. Mark chapter 3, verse 33. Mark chapter 3, verse 33 is pretty much saying the same thing in Matthew's. Mark chapter 3 and verse 33, and it reads, and he answered them, saying, who is my mother or my brethren? Verse 34, for he looked around about them which sat with him and said, behold, that means, look, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother. The will of his Father. That's so beautiful. He's letting us know right today, you ain't my brother. You ain't my sister. Unless you're doing the will of my Father. They don't get it. They think because they're Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's sad. That is, they the true Jews. But then you say this book was for you, the Jews? Well, what is it you don't get about that? What is it you don't get when he said, I don't come to bring the sword? I don't come to bring, what did he say? Peace between mother and father. I mean, mother and brother and daughter and mother. He letting you know, I don't play that. I am not involved in those pleasures of the flesh. See, that's why I go back to what I was saying to you. That's why polygamy cannot be listed as righteous. Because it does not line up with righteous. It lines up with the desire of the flesh. And people don't get that. And y'all don't have to take the 12 tribes from Jacob and make them holy than thou. But here go the beast, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. They were somebody's children. They're representing Satan. But they were somebody's family. So when we running around here, and who got the keys to them? Yah, life, and death. See, y'all don't know nothing about that right hand. Y'all don't understand the power of that right hand of the Father. That is no play. Every last one of y'all need to go back to Genesis and pull all the way down to Revelation and in Google the right hand in the Bible. And every verse, read it. And you're going to say, well, you mean to tell me that little old lady was telling the truth? That right hand has not gotten the respect that needs to be, that should have been, because they never knew who the right hand was. Okay, so in in Mark chapter 3 and verse 33, he's talking about the same thing that it was said in Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 39. Who is my mother? No, that was Matthew. No, Matthew chapter 12, verse 48 through 50. It said it, who is my mother? Don't y'all think don't that sound kind of disrespectful? But it ain't. He's speaking in spirit and truth. He ain't being disrespectful if spirit and truth is being spoken. Like I'll be talking to you all might be thinking, when Sister Deborah talking out of order, she shouldn't have said that. She used a lie from the pit of hell. He said, oh, wait, they said, who is your brother, your mother, and your brothers standing to speak to you? He said, wait a minute, who is my mother? Who is my brother? Do you think he got up? No. See, y'all ain't recognizing that which is spirit and truth versus that which is flesh. You separate yourself from that mess. And you let it be known in you the difference. You don't treat nobody bad, but you let it be known within you. Wait a minute, it's a difference. That sister might be saying something. This is what I kept trying to explain to y'all about David, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Solomon, and that's why I call Solomon my brother. Solomon and Jeremiah, all of them that y'all used. You can see them all in Matthew chapter 1, all the way down. He called them the generation of Yeshua HaMashiach because they came through that same spiritual line. Even though they were before, they came after. Because everything was in the heavens before it was on the earth. All of them was in the spiritual bloodline of righteous. That's who they were. Yes, did they have a natural bloodline? Yes, but that's what the Father wants you to be able to see about yourself. You need to check yourself out on both ends. You got to find out, wait a minute now, whose side am I on? Am I on my flesh side or am I on my spiritual side? 99.9 knows the truth of the whole matter because your fruit speaks for it all. Okay, so what is it? Where are we? Now we have to go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6. We really believe, we really believe Yah is hung up on our families. We really do. My mother said to me, I just hate that they acting like that. She said, I wish they wouldn't act like that. I don't want to leave here and they acting like that. Say, let her, hold up, mama. No. That ain't got nothing to do with you. And the sad part is about it, child, is when she told me, she said, you told me so. That's what she said, y'all. And don't you know, to hear an 87-year-old say that, and that was more than 40 years ago. See, I know I step over my boundaries. I know I do. Because the day I said it, I kind of felt bad. I realized I was talking to a mother about her own children, knowing that I was a mother. And I felt bad about it. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Let me tell y'all what happened to that. I felt bad saying that to my mother, but I guess it was like in the flesh because I was a mother. And I just try to feel how she could have felt me saying that to her about her children. You see what I'm saying? But what gave me a way out was the Spirit of the Most High Yah told me, you spoke truth. The thing about it is, he suffered me to say that to her. He suffered me to say that to her. And that's why I said that here you talking 40-some years later, and now the whole idea of it is now right before her. And she see it not like she's seeing it, but like I said it to her 40-some years ago. So that's the part that kind of make me feel, even though it was prophesying to her, it still doesn't ease the fact that it's sorrow. You know what I'm saying? See, just because you are walking in the spiritual bloodline of righteousness still don't mean that you should be hardcore and not have sympathy and sorrow for others. So I kind of feel really sad. And then I was sitting today, y'all, I did so many videos because I was trying to figure out what can I say if I meet up with her children and I say to them, what can I say? And I have so many good things, y'all, I could say. So many things that'll break it down in them. But you know what? I don't think the Father going to suffer me too. I don't think he's going to allow me to, you know? So let me get to 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 18. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 18, it reads, let's go up a little higher. Let's go to 17. Chapter 6, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17 and 18. Wherefore, come out from among them. Come out from among them. This is where you're going to know who you are. Because if you're not able to come from among the family that you so love, that you so embedded in, that you turn up righteous for unrighteous. Do you know women will support their daughters and their son, even if they cut 20 million people head off, they'll turn around and support them. But that's my child. That's my baby. That's that wicked that you support. That person don't need that type of support after they have done that sort of crime. But we got this thing about we overly nurture them in unrighteous. If we can take that nurturing and give it to them in righteousness, then that'd be different. But we nurture them. Let me tell you what we do. No matter what trouble they get in, we feel we have to bail them out. No matter what wrong they doing, we always got to make them feel that even though it was wrong, it's right because I'm supporting you in it. And we don't understand that that's all we're doing is we ain't creating monsters. They come from the man, so that's his creation. But we are embedding the monsters to be more of a vicious monster. And we thinking we taking care of them, giving them what we didn't have. We want them to have more than others. We want them to have cars and property and all this stuff we want. This one man bought, 60 acres of land. I think he was in Arizona. And I said, now, when they showed the land, I said, now, what's your son going to do with that? He was 16. What is he going to do with that? You see what I'm saying? Whoever sold it to you, they looked at you and said, we need to give him this because he's stupid. Because you don't know what they done built underground in that location. You see? Matter of fact, that was something really stupid to give a 16-year-old. You see what I'm saying? And it was like mountains and hills and rocks. And they camped out there. And it was just all this land. You see what I'm saying? Because we thinking we giving our son something. Baby, you ain't feeding them nothing but wicked and evil. But because you giving them land, that ain't nothing but wicked and evil because it's out of order in the way that you're doing it. See, people, they don't see stuff like that. They would see it when you just said it because you ain't got it. And if I can afford it, stupid stuff. People really think what they're doing, even in their setting and what they're doing is much better than what you're doing because they're where they're at and to them, they're prospering and they're doing the things that they're going to need and ahead of you. And they really think they're going somewhere. But see, that's where y'all gonna come in. Because see, the way y'all be coming behind you and backing up on you, y'all, he'll come in when you ain't even looking. He'll come in, you talking through the back door. Y'all come in from the basement. He'll come in through the back door. He'll come in any way that he can throw you totally off of balance because you can think you all together. Your family is better than everybody else because you are doing this and you weren't doing it. And y'all tell you, baby, but I knew them before the foundation of the world. I don't want to have them written. Everybody. So let's say, for instance, me. Let's say, for instance, Sister Deborah. And say if it was my husband and I and the 6 kids. I can teach righteousness and constantly give them righteousness. But heaven has them already in the books. For it is what? Written. So no matter what I give them, heaven got them wrote in and wrote out. And guess what? While they're living the life, it's going to show. But by me being mama, I'm so blind. Those my babies. I'm going to take care of my babies. I'm going to do this. Oh, my kids. No, and no. Because I still can hear the voice of the Most High say, I'm going to visit the iniquity of the fathers, 3 to 4 generations. I don't mess with that, y'all, because that's deep. That said, I'm going to do this. Who got something to say? I said, I'm going to visit the iniquity of the children, the father's children, 3 to 4 generations. What do you got to say? Nothing. So what you seeing today is worse than yesterday because you still don't take nothing he says in consideration because we think we make our house. That's why I say you can't afford to get out here and be submissive to people who ain't even got their flesh under submission to their spirit. So what do you look like being submissive under their flesh? It don't make sense, y'all. Why are you going to submit your flesh under the submission, being submissive to another man's flesh? Because he your husband. He shouldn't even want not another flesh nowhere near him until he have learned to get his flesh under the submission to his spirit. Because the only way y'all gonna deal with that man is through the spirit. They don't teach y'all that. They don't tell y'all that. That's what you call first steps to what is right. That's why they can go around here and get all these wives. How you gonna get all these wives and then turn around and say, submit to me. These stupid women go around submitting to the flesh of a man. And that man hasn't even learned to submit his flesh, his own flesh, to his spirit. Because that's the only place y'all meet up with him. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Y'all would meet up with that man in his spirit. 99.9 of these men don't even know they got a spirit. And that's where y'all would dwell if he wants to meet up with you to get you right. You see? So if you ain't submitted your own flesh to your spirits where y'all can come into your spirit and abide, why are you telling the flesh of these women to be submissive to you? It's a sexual thing. It's a perverted, lust, adulterous thing. It's a sin thing, y'all. Deep. That's why he rolled up again and said it's going to be like the days of Noah when he listed the men and the daughters, because that's what they were, sex trafficking the daughters, selling them to the sons of Yah. See, everybody want to put everything else in there, but they don't get that you can mess up those who already messed up. The family that's of the flesh, you can mess them up and you can mess them down. Why? Because they're the ones going straight through the broad gate. They going walking happy, praising and so much joy in them, and they walking straight in the broad gate happy that they walking in the broad gate because they think they in there. They think they're going in the right gate. They really think they're going in the right gate. That's why they won't read and study. That's why they don't have a relationship with the Most High Yah so he can tell them who they are in him. They don't even want that. You all would think people want truth. They don't want truth. You would think people want spirit of truth. They don't want spirit of truth. You would think they would want the light so they can see in dark. They don't really want it. Because being in the flesh is so comfortable for them. That's the way they want to live. So when you see them pull up to Yeshua telling him that your mother and your brother is looking for you, he said, wait a minute, hold up. He knew then. Same way, Sister Deborah, I've been saying this for quite a long time. A lot of people don't get it, and they ain't going to get it. Because we want to put everything way above my father and make them the extra special. And this is why women are on dating service and all these other things, trying to get a man and trying to only desire a man in their lives, and they will do any and everything. And they don't even understand. So what are you saying, Deborah? This is what I'm saying. And he told me this earlier today, and I was like, where are you going with that, Father? Y'all, where are you going? I was looking in my clothes closet, and he was saying, Deborah, say for instance, if you cover your head and you wear a long dress down to the ground, you cover your feet, put clothed in shoes. Did you know Satan never looks even at the outer flesh? You see? He's looking at how he can rub so much even wicked on you. So when you running around here, you telling your story about how all these men you're running up on and you're talking to, and you see it in nationwide television, a lot of the tribe of Judah men, a lot of them older than I am, telling the story about how their father touched their bodies and molested them and did this and did that. Y'all, if you wants to make your family all that and some, you go right ahead. You'll see them on the other side. Because the family of the Most High Yah is found in the bloodline of the spirit of righteousness, and not in the bloodline of your family. And he will let you think it's all about you and your family. He'll let you live it because he already got you written. And this is the route. What did I tell you? You're going to already know who you are down here. Ain't gonna even, a lot of people in full denial. They don't want to even tackle the fact that who am I here? Because who you are here is where you're going to be come stand before judgment in the Lamb book of life or in the books. That's where you're going to be found. So a lot of things that people are doing, that's why they go on and do everything. And that's why Solomon told them, if you've been given something, God gave it to you, enjoy it, because that's your portion. He letting you know on this earth, that's your portion. So you thinking because you got something, you better enjoy it, because that's all you got coming. That's what Solomon was saying. You might as well enjoy it, because that's your portion. A lot of people don't understand what you're doing is you having a good time with your portion and thinking your portion, trying to make your portion Yah's righteous will in eternal life. And it's not. Your portion is when your flesh wants to enjoy and embrace that it's all let in something. It got this, it got that, I got this, I got that. Y'all don't have no problem with you continue to think you like that, because that's your portion. Enjoy it. Because this is the only place you're going to be able to enjoy it. So you might as well enjoy it. And that's what Solomon was saying. You might as well enjoy it. If he gave it to you, enjoy it. Because that's it. You ain't got nothing else coming. And family, so what happened is I was explaining to Mom about family and how family, we didn't put our family on pedestals. And when we put our family on pedestals and we fail to read what he said, he'll have the father against the son against the father, the daughter against the mother against the daughter. What you gonna do that for? He said, it ain't me doing it, it's flesh. Flesh is never gonna be satisfied or righteous with one another. That's why he said you are your own worst enemy. He's talking about your flesh. So if your flesh is your own worst enemy, just imagine. And if you want to live out your flesh on this earth, then you actually living out your flesh and your spirit on this earth. Because your flesh got dominion over your spirit. So Yah is not coming to abide in your spirit if you let your flesh have dominion over it. What makes you think Yah want to come up in your nasty spirit then, when your flesh is ruling your spirit? He ain't coming nowhere up in it. So let your flesh enjoy ruling your spirit. That's why people can't get past they can't even think of all the gifts he's given before repentance, all the blessings he's poured out. They can't even receive them because they give their credit and their glory to their flesh. So they don't care about what gift Yah is giving them or pouring out to them. They so caught up in their flesh, having what it wants, doing what it wants, feeling the way it want to feel. Feelings and emotions can also identify either you in the narrow gate or you in the broad. I'm telling you something, y'all. That feeling and emotions, the feelings and emotions can mess you up from the floor because it lies to you. It deceives your own feelings and emotions, lies to you, deceive you, your own feelings and your own emotions. So when you see Yeshua telling this guy, well, what you mean my mother and my brothers are, right here is my brothers and my mothers and my sisters, right here, those who are following the Father in his righteousness. That's who he is. So that's why it makes it real easy for his servants when he says, know them by their fruit. You know them by their actions, because their actions show up in their hearts and their hearts show up in their actions. And this is where you know who's who and what's what. So you can sit and you can listen. You can just keep speaking, but no, that's what the Father wants his to know. No, don't let that flesh creep up on you and thinking it can deceive you. You are mine. I've given you the tools to work that thing. That journey you on, I gave you all the tools to use. And you think he won't, hey, he'll get on you if you don't. He will get on you if you don't. So when you see in 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17 and 18, he says, wherefore come out from among them and be separate, said Ahiah, and touch not the unclean things, and I will receive you. Hold up. And will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, said the Most High Yah. See, he calling you his sons and his daughters once you have separate yourself from the ways of the flesh. See, we really thinking. That's why, you know what was so bad? If the Hebrew Israelite understood that there's two bloodlines, there's a spiritual bloodline and there's a flesh bloodline, and that they are walking in the flesh bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That means a lot of sin, iniquity, wicked, and everything. That's what bloodline they're in. They're walking in that bloodline, and they're thinking they're going to end up where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is at, because they didn't know, y'all. They really did not know that there's two bloodlines. The bloodline in the flesh is going to have they were given the promised land, okay? But the bloodline in the spirit was given eternal life. That's the difference in the two. And they would never reach that destiny. They will never reach that destiny. Why you say that, Deborah? Because when you go up in Deuteronomy 28, as far as it telling you from Deuteronomy 28, the first chapter to the end, it laid everything out. It told them things that they should have been teaching you all. They should have been ministering Deuteronomy 28 to the fullness to you all. They should have been breaking that thing down all the way to the end, but they didn't. They threw away the beginning of Deuteronomy 28. They threw away the end game of Deuteronomy 28. They only went in, grabbed the ships, the slave ships, and the yoke around their neck and oppress. And that's it. They threw all the rest of it away and fed you all the slave ship, being oppressed, and the yoke around your neck. They took that out and they built it up on their newfound religion, Hebrew Israelite movement. And you see, it makes the tribe of Judah, to me, look, especially the tribe of Judah, look just as dumb can be. Because it set its own standards away from what is righteous. And they didn't force the people to come that way. People just took off running that way. And let me tell you, you know what else that's kind of deep? Why did they run that way without looking first of where Yahweh started? And if they would have did they search and went back, now see what they did is they were so anxious to deceive you and mislead you, so anxious to where they rushed in this new awakening without looking at the whole overall, that Yahweh is the same carbon copy of what they say that they have awakened to. They had that same standards. But if they would have just went back in the 90s, in the 80s, if they would have just went back, they'll see that it wasn't that you are awakened. This has already existed, baby, way back then. So they lied to you all. They lied. Because Sister Deborah found out, almost a couple of years ago? I said, wait a minute. I found out how wicked and evil Yahweh was. I was like, oh, it's the same group of Hebrew Israelites movement. Same old mess. But I'm like saying, why didn't them Hebrew Israelites look at that and see how wicked and evil and how they were murdering and killing people, and they were raping and having babies, and oh my God, all kind of homosexual things. And here you all come up in the last 20 years, we awaken. What you are awakened to what? And Yahweh is doing the same identical thing to the new awakening. And that's why you see those men on the corner cursing and saying all kind of crazy things with all these uniforms on. It shows you that they did dip in to see the one that started it back in the 80s. And they're seeing how far you all on these devil platforms would allow them to restart it up in a way that they could get away with all of it. I think the head man died. I'm not sure if he died, but they locked him up. Too many people was losing their lives. He was sending people out to kill. All this sort of stuff. And here we are. We went to Deuteronomy, and then don't forget, Deuteronomy is what you call Torah. This is why Sister Deborah said, don't listen to people talking about Torah. They ain't even upholding Torah. Because if they did, they'll teach you about the end game of Deuteronomy 28. And it'll teach you that they took out only the slave ship, the yoke around the neck, and the oppressed. And they took everything else and threw it away. They don't buy nothing Deuteronomy 28 speaks of. But they want you to hook on to Torah. And he said, whenever they want them to take on Torah, when they ain't even heard Genesis 1 and 2. They ain't even got spirit and truth in that. But they want to make you think it's about them teaching you Torah because it's a cult. Their people have taught them that, and they've been in it so long, they figure this is the only way I'm going to manipulate the people like they manipulated me. And I'm going to bring them in like that. A lot of them. But if you do I think several of you all already did it. Y'all went on there and y'all saw, and they were killing and murdering. Yahweh, same thing. It's the Hebrew Israelite movement. Same thing back in the 80s. And you should see the stuff that they done, y'all. You should see the stuff that they was doing. And yeah, I believe the power was behind them, the elites. I believe they were 100. Because they got away with a lot of killing, y'all. They got away with a lot of stuff. A whole lot of stuff. And they millions of dollars. They got millions of dollars. Now, when you see that, you'll say, well, how is the Hebrew Israelite says they awakening then? This here was already, see, because they want to awaken you to stupidity. They want to take you to the deep, out in the deep sea to where you won't see dry land. And that's what has happened to our men in the tribe of Judah. They have gone in the Hebrew Israelites movement, went so far in the deep, they will never see dry land. And dry land represent righteous. Dry land represent the Most High Yah. They won't see him because he ain't coming out to get them while they're drowning. No, you went too far out. Meaning you done away with him to be with them. Now you're out there how you like it. Now you're out there. And they ain't going to see their way until all these things start manifesting on the earth, where right now they're letting the people do a lot of shooting and killing. And yes, they're using the things that they're putting in the minds of people to control the people. Oh, they're controlling them big time. A lot of these killings, they're shooting a lot of people. Oh, they're controlling it big time. It's mind control. They're doing it. You can go to the dentist. They can put you on it. You don't know what they put. Same thing with the doctors. I heard now, and let me not scare nobody, but the truth of the matter, if you ain't in the right place with Yah, you don't stand a chance. But people feel when they bigger than Yah, they better than him, they stronger, they powerful than him. Truly, that can't be true. Okay, it's not. Keep walking a little while longer. You know what they always talk about, just a little while longer. Now, it's this Malachi, I think this is called Malachi chapter 7, verse 6. Let me see what it said here. Malachi chapter 7. I don't know where I'm at. So family is not. It's chapter 6. No, chapter 7. That's it. I got it. That ain't Malachi. No, that's Michael. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry. I got the wrong one. Michael. chapter 7, verse 6. Micah, chapter 7, verse 6. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong. That's not Malachi. And it reads in verse 6, for the son dishonor the father, and the daughter rise up against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. A father's enemies are the men. See, y'all ain't been taught that, have you? Have y'all been taught that? Have y'all been taught that? Let me let everybody get to Micah 7 and 6. Now, one thing about this one here, don't forget, Yeshua was talking about all of it. Yeshua was. Yeshua HaMashiach was talking about it in Matthew's, Luke, Mark, their experience. Okay? Then you hear them talking about it in Corinthians. Okay? But listen, the Messiah has not entered into the earth as of yet. And Micah chapter 7, verse 6. For the son dishonor the father, and the daughter raised up against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men, men, of his own house. What do you all think about that? See? We messed up from the floor, and we run around here thinking Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, baby, they are on the spiritual bloodline side of family. This right here he's talking about, this is the flesh bloodline. Hear it again. Chapter 7, verse 6. For the son dishonor the father. The daughter rise up against her mother. The daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. I sit back and I think about how many times the Most High have spoke to these men, telling them that you are the error. You are the one that has messed it up. He's been saying it for the longest. And they still blame everything and everybody outside of looking within themselves and saying, wait a minute. We run around and we talk about these women trying to raise boys and to be men and raising these children by themselves. But baby, those are your monsters. Those are your monsters that he's talking about. The only reason why the daughter is the way that she is toward the mother, because she's your monster. That's your seed. Only reason why the son is against the father and dishonor the father, because that's the seed of who you are. That's your seed. And it says it just as clear. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. What is that saying? Let me see what is that saying, y'all? Let me see who in the live chat can understand that. You don't get it, do you? A man's enemies are the men of his own house. That's family, y'all. That's family. And the root is the men. And this is what has happened. So this is what happened, y'all. So you know how the men said they leave and the women are home trying to raise boys to be men and raising children by themselves, one single parent. You see? It's because you left all the monsters right there with them. How can now watch this, y'all. I want y'all to just I'm talking about family. How can verse 6 be broke down. The son shall, listen to this, the son dishonored the father, and the daughter rise up against the mother, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. The monsters are the seed of the men. So all this stuff is the seed of the man. Remember, he said, I will visit the iniquity of the fathers, 3 to 4 generations. They don't get it, and they won't get it. So if he said he's going to visit the father, who will be dealing with them children? They left. How can a son dishonor a father he ain't never seen? How can a son dishonor a father that don't come around? How can a son dishonor a father which never been in his life? How can a son dishonor a father that never had a father? So who do he have to dishonor? You see what I'm saying? What do you mean, Deborah? You go right back here to Isaiah chapter 3. I'm talking about family here, y'all. You want to pretend all family this and that? Y'all say you go right ahead. When it all said and done, it is what he said it is, and not what you trying to make the picture pretty to be. And listen to this. Isaiah chapter 3. As for my people, children are their oppressor. You see? And women rule over them. That's matching that. Same question. If the man ain't in the house, how couldn't the son dishonor him? So who do he dishonor? Woman. Woman. Because the man ain't been in his life. The man ain't been in his house. The man ain't been there for him. So he has to not dishonor the father. So when we step into that today, you can see how broken the flesh family really is. Because all the issue rests on who? Listen to what it said. And women rule over them. Who are the women ruling over? Who rules over children that are oppressed? Go to Isaiah chapter 7. Somebody tell me, what is that? What is it saying when it says in Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12? As for my people, children are their oppressors. Women rule over them. What do that mean? You know, the men lied and said that's showing you women out of order. But what is he saying there? He's saying the same thing he said in the other one. But except the men ain't there for them to dishonor. So who is this one in Isaiah? Who are the children oppressing? Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. Who are the children oppressing? Anybody know? That's right. And that's what you're catching in the world today. The women are catching the hell. I come not to bring the sword. I come not to bring peace between father and son, nor daughter and mother. How is the son getting anything? His father's not there. So it shows you how far out of order the household really is. And it has nothing to do with a woman. The woman is still there. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. You don't get it, do you? You don't get it. I know you don't get it. If he keeps saying, I come not to bring peace with father and son, daughter and mother. So you ain't coming to bring peace. But how can you bring peace, even if you were, when the son don't have a father in the house? Still stuck with the woman. You see? Women don't understand you're catching the whole overall. And you ain't even figured it out yet. So if you catching all these prophecies in which Yeshua had said, what is that telling you? You still don't get it. You still don't get it. Oh, I forgot. You got to submit to a man. Just how do that sound? How do that sound for you to submit to a man when children are the parents' oppressors and ain't nothing but one parent in the house? So who is the children giving a hard time to? Women don't even understand what they've been taking on in life. And they call it, they think they are family. They try to define family. Everybody try to tell you family, family, family. Baby, please. You are the family of the flesh. And everything in the flesh is always trying to orchestrate something to make it look good, to make it feel good, to make it right. And it's all wicked and evil because you live in the flesh. Now, when you're born, this is going back to where he said, if you're born of the flesh, then you are the flesh. But if you're born of the spirit, you are the spirit. See, and a lot of people don't get that because it's telling you the same thing Sister Deborah sitting here telling you. Same thing, the two. Born of the flesh or born of the spirit. Born of the family of the flesh or born of the family of the spirit. Still the same thing, but you can't get people to even go anywhere near it and understand it because they gone. He said that they would be. And it's no one going to be able to do about it. Yeah. So even though they're oppressed, this is where the children is out of order because they didn't oppress the woman to where she ain't worth a dime in the house. And all these, I just read you all. I'm going to show you how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 verses. That's telling you how he said separate, how he is not coming to bring a mother and a daughter together or a father and a son. But you have to go back in there and see that where the error is at. Where's the error? Y'all ain't gonna find it because y'all been living a lie. The error is there's never, they're not gonna say it's never, there's no fathers in the home. For these verses to be legit. Are they legit? Yes. But they legit to warn women and men how out of order the flesh lives life. Women can't see why their children are the way that they are. When he said, I will visit the iniquity of the children of the father's children. Because see, y'all know that when I said, Deborah, I put it in men, those are his monsters that she's being left with. And this is why you see what you see in the world. And they try to justify 2 parents in the house. It don't matter 2 parents in the house or not. He said he ain't come to bring peace in it. Now, how you like that? He said he come to bring the sword between mother and daughter and father and son. But if it ain't no son in the house, if it ain't no father in the household, somebody tell me how he gonna bring the sword. Y'all do not get it. Y'all do not get it. I can feel it in my spirit. You lost. You lost. You lost. Because every verse that I've given you, every scripture I didn't give you has connected you to family. And you have not seen where is it showing you how the whole earth is off course and out of what is righteous. Because every one thing that Yeshua said out of the 7 verses, this here 8th one came out of Michael chapter 7, verse 6. But all of them is telling you. Then when I pulled up Isaiah 3 and verse 12, telling you the same thing. It's saying, hey, look, y'all, can y'all see it? Can you see it? What is it telling you all? And I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to stand right here until somebody tell me, what is that? All those verses telling you what? Let me see who's going to get it. Yep, they'll back them up in wrongdoing. Yes, they will. And don't want you to say nothing nor correct them. Okay, you are so right. Right, it's left without a covering. And guess what? All the things, how is it? Now I'm going to show you how strange this is. You're right. Without a covering, the Most High is not in there because the man has left his position. Not only he left him, it's just like this here. It's like he went in the house, cracked on the living room floor, and left it there. And every day, the woman take a piece of the crack and throw it away. No, clean it up. They say clean it up. But what is he saying? I need somebody to tell me, because I'm going to tell you what he's saying to me now. I seen only a portion of it, but what is he saying to me now regarding those verses that we spoke of? Y'all want me to go over those? Let me go over those verses, and then I'm going to see who can sum it up. Let me see who can sum it up. We're going to see who's going to sum this thing up tonight, okay? We're going to start back where we went to Matthew's chapter 12, verse 48 through 50, okay? It says, Matthew chapter 12, verse 48 through 50. And what I want you all to do, I want to see who can, if you can. If you can't, that's still okay. I'll sum it up if no one come, say what it is. Matthew chapter 12, verse 48 and 50. And in Matthew chapter 12, is that Yeshua talking? Let me go and turn it there. I got it wrote down. 12 and 48. Yep, in 48. And I think I went to 47, 48, and 49 and 50. So we say in Matthew chapter 12, verse 47 through 50. Now, listen to this. Now, listen to this here. It said, and then I'm going to read every one like I just told you, and I'm going to see if y'all going to see this. I want y'all to see this. This is going to be really strange, because when he said it to my spirit just now, I was like, I'm done. I'm going to close this book. I'm getting off here, because that's just so deep. Listen to this. Here we go. Matthew 12, verse 47 through 50. I'm sorry. I said, yeah, there you go. You wrapped it up. I'm sorry. That was my fault. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren standing without, desire to speak with thee. But he answered, and he said unto him that told him, Who is my mother, and who are my brethren? Verse 49. And he stretched forth his hand toward the disciples and said, Behold, my mother, and my brethren. Verse 50. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brethren and my sister and my mother. Okay. Now let's go to Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22 and verse 6. Proverbs 22 and verse 6 read, Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 and 39. I want to see who's going to get this. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 39. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 39, it reads, 34 starts, think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father and against her mother, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Okay? And it says, verse 36, and a man folks shall be they of his own household. 37, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth a son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Verse 38, and he that taketh not his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. 39, he that hideth his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. Now let's go to Mark 3 and 33. I want somebody to tell me exactly, and you might not be able to because I didn't know it, so I'm not expecting you to get it. It was just given to me as a quicken as I was speaking it to you all. Matthew chapter 3 and verse 33 through 35. Matthew chapter 3, verse 33 through 35. Matthew chapter 3, 33 through 35. And he answered them, saying, who is my mother or my brethren? And he looked around about on them which sat about him and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of Yah, the same is my brethren and my sister and mother. Okay, now we're gonna go into 2 Corinthians. We're almost done. And I hadn't even gave that a thought, but that's something to think about. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 18. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. And I will be a father unto you, and ye will be a son. Be a son and a daughter, said the Most High Yah. Okay, that was 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 18. Okay, and when he said in verse 17, let's go back to 17. In 17, it says, 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separated, said Ahiah, and touch not the unclean things, and I will receive you. Okay. And he's telling you he will be a father unto you, and you will be his daughters and son. Okay. Micah chapter 7 and verse 6. Okay, Micah chapter 7 verse 6, and it reads in verse 6, for the son dishonored the father, and the daughter rise up against the mother, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. A man enemies are the men of his own house. Now Out of all those verses, putting them together, we know that it's talking about family. I know that Yeshua talked about who truly is his family. And that's that, and the sad part is about it, a lot of y'all might have missed that. He actually gave you an example of the family in the flesh and the family in the spirit. He gave you the example. And that's why it's good to study this here, instructions and direction, because it gives you some okay. Yeah, that's what Yeshua was saying, and a lot of people wouldn't have been able to go into the Bible and teach that why he said it like that. Because to me, if I was just teaching it and I wasn't in the spirit realm, I would say he's being disrespectful. But he's not being disrespectful. He's telling you straight up what the flesh is like. Who is my mother? Who is my brother? Those them in the flesh. You all in the spirit is my mother and my father. I mean, and my brother and my sister in the spirit. And you notice he said sister. Where he gets sister from? They said that your mother and your brothers was looking for you. If you go back there, he said sister. Wait a minute. Somebody, they won't teach you that, will it? They won't tell you about that, will it? No, they won't tell you that. But he called it out. Brother, whoever follows me, my brother, they are my brother and my sister. That's what Yeshua said. Those that follow me, they are my real brothers and sisters. And a lot of y'all wouldn't even get that. Y'all wouldn't even really get the fact that he's talking about a spiritual brother and a family. We so hung up on the flesh family. But let me tell you something that's strange. You know what he's telling me, y'all? I wanted you all to maybe tell me what these 7 verses were saying is really giving you an example of 2 families, the flesh and the spirit. But this is the key that he gave me. He said, when you went up in there, Deborah, you noticed everything I said in the beginning of it, of when Yeshua was talking, but what he was saying, I come to bring peace. I didn't come to bring peace on the earth between father and son. That's what he said first. He come to bring the sword between father and son. He lets you know father and son. But this is what is founded, not just this day, but for many years. There hasn't been a father there for him to bring the sword up on. So who do the sword land on? I come not to bring peace between father and son. So if you ain't bringing peace between father and son, who's in that house? Mother. Women have taken the heavy load. What is that? Omar, he couldn't have said it no better. He said, if they don't think, what man would think a woman wouldn't be mad in this day and time after she didn't have to raise all the children and to do everything? He told the truth. I mean, he came straight out on TikTok. He nailed it. And he nailed it with fierce. I like that because he's telling you the sincere of it. And he had to do it in a state of mind of fierce, the way he said it. But he broke that thing. I think I might have it. But what he was giving me a quicken is just that. He said they won't see that I'm telling them and I'm talking to the Father. But Deborah, if the Father ain't there, who am I talking to then? See, y'all don't get it. If I say I come not to bring peace between father and son, but if the Father ain't ever been there, then who am I talking to? And then I say I come to bring the sword between father and son. If the Father ain't there, who am I talking to? And this here last one, what was it? Micah chapter 7, verse 6. For the son dishonored the father. Wait a minute. If the father ain't in the house, who could the son dishonor? The mother. So you see, women, what women being taken. So this is why you run up on Isaiah chapter 3. It all makes a lot. I'm telling y'all, it's like a puzzle piece, and you can see the wrath of Yah working in this stuff, and he's showing you each stage. When you go to Isaiah chapter 3 and you go to verse 25, Isaiah chapter 3, verse 25. The men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty men in the war. And he called them thy men. He's telling the women, your men. That means your brother, your husband, your uncle, your daddy, your cousin. They're going to die by the sword. And then when you drop down to verse chapter 4, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. See, they thinking it's right here. The Most High is showing you that women are going to be the one left. They're going to be the one left. And when they see that man, they know the man is already going to be branded with holy. Why? Because the man survived after all. He just said it in verse 25. He just told the women in verse 25, your men shall fall by the sword. Who you think he playing with? He's telling the women, I'm going to take them out. And then he turned around and said, the ones that think they tough and bad, the mighty ones are going to die in the war. They're going to think they tough and they bad and they buffed. Okay, you think you bad, you're going to die too. And then what did he say? You drop down, and then it tells you in 26 how the women and her gates she's going to be wailing, crying, and moaning. Because this has happened to the men. So when you get to Isaiah 4, and in that day, he's telling you in that day when he going to kill all these men, 7 women shall take hold of one man. It's showing you a sign that it's going to be more women than men that's surviving this thing, y'all. They never thought. Instead, they said, oh, each one of us going to have 7 women. Y'all going to give us 7 women. Why would he give you 7 women when you having 7 women to 15, 20 today? Why do you think he giving you something then? They nutcases. They ain't looked up to 25 where he said he gonna kill her. So when you see that, and then he come up in Ezekiel, he start pulling up in Ezekiel. He said, Ezekiel is in the vision, and he said, Ezekiel, do you think these dry bones can live? Those was David's army. That's why David is going to be in the promised land. It's because he's going to raise his army back up. And if you read what he's saying, and this is why you know that all these so-called wannabe scholars don't know what the rats behind they talking about. He said it's going to be a multitude of men. That he's going to take over to the promised land. You see? So after when he does that, when he them dry bones, this is what Yah is saying. This was the dry bones was the house of Israel. It was the army of David that died on the battlefield. They're going to come back together. And he's going to take them back, the multitude, over to the promised land. You see? And if you ever think to read it, you'll see where David is going. It mentioned David. You see? But the men that you see today, and if he don't show up and show out and do what he say he's going to do, like in the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to die. So that's why he's allowing them to play these games that they're playing. You see a lot of tribe of Judah homosexual. A lot of them that's homosexual that is, he said, in their continence, that same chapter, Isaiah. He said the Jerusalem is ruined and Judah has fallen because their tongues and their doings are against Ahiah to provoke his eyes of his glory. He talking to the men. This is what they doing today, y'all. Now watch this here. And verse 9, it says, they show, this is Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 9, they show their countenance, do it witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom and hide it not. Homosexual. The tribe of Judah. And these men walking around here trying to be kings, leader, and ruler. And trying to get women submissive under them. How could you dare want a woman to be submissive under you after she is taking on all this that the father says the children will oppress the parents? But if there is not no parent in there but a woman, who is the children oppressing? Y'all do not get it. He's showing the women that he's seeing these things. He knows about these things. Then Yeshua's pulling up telling you the father and the son, he bring not peace. Wait a minute. But Yeshua, how you going to say that? And you know the father's not going to be in the house. So who are the children? Who are the peace being taken from? Now she got to have no peace with the daughter and the son. He come to bring the sword between the father and son. If the father ain't there, who is the sword he gonna bring it toward? The woman. See, y'all don't get it. It's a lot of things that seems like it's leading up to a lot of chaos. And it's almost like a lot of the women of the tribe of Judah has taken on, not just Judah, but I think it's a lot of women, has taken on the whole overall. I'm serious. Of the wicked and everything. And they running around here trying to make a family. You're trying to make a family with flesh. You see how messed up? Now get to the point of what I said. Family. So how you gonna mend that family together? Come on now. I come not to bring peace, but I bring not peace between son and father. Well, wait a minute. Hold up. I got something to ask. Father ain't in the houses. So how is it? That ain't no peace, no way. Oh, I come to bring the sword between a son and father. How you gonna bring a sword and the fathers ain't in the house? And then you say the children is gonna be oppress the parents. Only one parent in the house. Then how you gonna do that? So who's getting oppressed? The woman that's going to be ruling, trying to rule over all this oppressed son and an oppressed daughter. See, she getting left with him. And that's what it's saying. Even here in Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12, it says, as for my people, children are their oppressors. Now, wait a minute. I thought the heathens was our oppressors. This United States is oppressing us. But here it is. He's telling us. Our children going to oppress us, and women going to rule over them, meaning over the kids that's oppressed, because they thinking they're going to be able. We think that we can be able to get them in order, try to get it right, try to do it right, going back to family. We can't. It's just that messed up. So I would rather get myself right with Yah. I would rather be in the family of the bloodline of the spirit than to be in the family of the bloodline of the flesh, trying to claim like I'm in the spirit realm. No, don't fake nothing till you make it. Get that stuff right. Because the truth be told, the flesh of a woman is catching hell. Hell on top of hell. Because he said, I should visit the iniquity of the father, the children's of the father's children, because he know that the monsters come out of the father. 2, 3 to 4 generations. So who are you going to visit the children? How you going to visit the children, iniquity? You visit the mother of those children, of the father that's no longer there. And it's a sad thing today because now, somewhere along the line, I know it's Yah's judgment, but these men are dropping and having babies by more women than anything now, y'all. They're going around having babies, going over to Africa having babies, y'all. They going into the Gentiles and having babies. They just doing everything, shaking it and leaving, shaking it and leaving. If you don't think the judgment of the Most High is not beholding that, something wrong with y'all. Something is seriously wrong with you all. And you're thinking he's going to continue to let all this be okay and you're going to walk up in the kingdom like you holy, then come on now. This is the way they teaching these people. Even if they are in the Hebrew Israelite and they practicing polygamy, you're committing adultery. You are not going to bring the flesh desires out of David, Abraham, and Isaac over to this day and time and tell these people and train these men that it's okay that they can have as many women as they please. That is not of Yah. And the good thing is about it is how Yah is allowing them. Because when he told me, Deborah, I poured out a whole thing of strong delusion. I said, Father, I can sure see it. Because they are just gone. They can't see it at all. And fighting and debating to make them their wickedness righteous in the eyes of those that follow them. And they following them and praising them and making them right. I said, go, Father, go. You sure said it. He said it. I believe it. And I can see it in this day and time. So if anyone have any questions, let me know. Oh, no, he said that. But you just quote the word. That's what the word says. They provoked him. They are provoking his wrath. That's what the Father said. They're doing it to provoke his wrath. That is exactly, what did he say that? Here it is right here. And it says in 17, Isaiah chapter 3 and 17. No, Isaiah chapter, where is it at? Yeah, here it is. Let me get it. He said, where is it at? Yeah, Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 8. In Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen because their tongue and their doings. See, Yah is trying to say to y'all, it's not, y'all, look at this here. Look at this here. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 8. For Jerusalem is ruined and Judah has fallen. Did not he say Babylon has fallen? Did not he say Babylon has fallen? Here it is. He's telling you Judah has fallen. I told y'all that they gone. And what is it? It's backing up Deuteronomy 28 in game. They gone. He's saying Judah is fallen. Did he say Babylon is fallen? And then what did he say? Because their tongues, they speaking. Did I just tell y'all that? They're telling these people it's okay to commit adultery and have many wives and all of the things that the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and David and them did in their flesh. They poured it up into the family today and said, it's good, we can do this. It is no righteous in it. It is not spiritual. It is flesh. And we know what happens to the flesh. Now listen to what he said. He said, because their tongue and their doing. So he's saying their tongues. What do you think he's saying when he said their tongues? Who knows? What is he talking about when he said their tongues? He said they're doing all this here and they're falling and they are ruined. So we're going to walk around here and say Deuteronomy, they ain't even teaching and preaching and telling the people about Deuteronomy endgame. That's telling you here again. He's telling you, for Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen. So what did he mean? It's saying what they saying, but he's saying because their tongue and their doing. So it's not when he's saying their tongue, he's saying they talking a lot of stuff, y'all. So even y'all hear Sister Deborah saying it, but here it is here. Here it is telling you exactly the times I'm telling y'all. These people on these devil platforms, especially these men, they're talking a lot of trash, evil and wicked. And he said, because their tongue and their doings. That means they're running their mouth and they doing the action. So they doing both. They running their mouth and their actions are against Yah to provoke the eyes of his glory. See, they doing it intentionally because they are not a family of the spirit. They are a family of the wicked, of the flesh, the wicked ones. So when you talking about family, you got to understand there's two families. There's a family of the spirit and there's a family of the flesh. And the family of the flesh always likes to follow behind wicked and evil. Always. That's why he said in the men in the house. They are the men in the house. That's what he said. But we don't get that. Somewhere in us, we don't get that. Because it's like, oh, they talking about this. They talking about, but see, that's what he said. They perish there because they're going to live and die and not gain any spirit and truth. No light to nothing. He already called that. He already prophesied that. So that's true already. So here, they don't grip. They won't come to Isaiah and see that Jerusalem is ruined. What you mean ruined? They done, Deborah. And Judah is falling. Wait a minute, you said Babylon is falling. Wait a minute, what? Oh, Deborah, they ain't going to come there. They so busy running around telling who's the tribes. They run around here saying, we the people. We are the true Jews. Who gives a rest behind who you are? And they really believe that the people are after them. Why would the people that have you under their, how would I say, control, why would they want to come and get you? Why are they, I know y'all probably say, well, Sister Deb, you really going too far. Why would them in this country be coming after us when he placed us here under their hand? So why are they coming after us? You want me to tell you why they gonna come after your bad tail? Because Yah said his judgment has hit the house of Israel. And how he complete his judgment, he gonna let them do things and allow them the things in which they're doing. So it ain't like they coming after us because we all that and all that. They make it look like we're the angels. And I hate that. I hate that with a passion, y'all. They want to make you think, oh, we the precious, good old ancient, oh, we the Jews. We the angels from heaven. We the righteous one. We ain't gonna ever be able to claim anything outside of what it already spoken that we was, and it is not righteous and it's not good. But we won't stood. We the people, we the true Jews. Yeah, you the true fools acting a fool. And the reason why you know something's going on, I'm gonna tell you one. You don't see the skinheads, you don't see the KKK, and you don't see the black supremacists, whatever they are. And then you don't see the house, so-called Israel, or what he say here, in the tribe of Judah. You don't see them nowhere around trying to quiet any storm. If anything, they causing the storm to rise amongst their own nation. They run around here barking. The tribe of Judah, or the 12 tribes. What have you seen out of anyone that you have seen do anything positive toward their own nation? You won't find one. You won't see him, and you'll never see him. Then that should tell you right there, wait a minute, Deborah, something wrong with that picture. Something wrong with that. That's something to think about. You don't see none of them. None of them. This has bothered me. This bothered me, but I had to shake it off because I could see behind it. This one guy, he got a real old, big old head. And he went in and got this Mexican kid, I think he was a Mexican, out of this house because his mother was sexual assaulting him for years. For years. She had him like a sex slave. Okay? For years. I'm gonna show y'all where this mind control is. All of a sudden, I'm looking at this brother with this big head. He got this big head. And the way his voice sound, I'm like saying, now, Father, why am I hearing behind his voice something don't sound right? And I say, he don't look right, nor do he sound right. And I'm like, listen to him. And he's bringing the boy out. He has a white shirt on, like a T-shirt, but he got the boy covered with a cover and bringing him into the police department. And I'm like, and bringing him out of the house into the police car, taking him in. I said, see how, Father, I'm like the angels under the altar. How long? How long? This Negro man, none of it didn't make any sense, y'all. You can see something set up. You can see something set up in that night. And he brings this kid out, holding on to him. And I'm saying, where's the police? Where's the FBI? Where's the police? Where's all the people? Why they got this one Negro bringing this boy out by himself? Well, why are they getting him? Wait a minute. And then you do all that. He's doing all these here reports. Interviews. Where is the system? Why did you see the sheriff and all of them behind him? Where are the people? Where are the heathens? Where are the Gentiles? They got this doing Negro. And he up there clowning y'all on the behalf of the son and his mother's situation. I said, you doing no good, Negro man. I can see why y'all placed the curse on us as a people. When I see this man and he be on there, if y'all get on there and hear his voice and the way he's talking, I said, you wouldn't have never stood up for a black kid that been murdered or a child that been murdered. But here you trying to get, I said, they didn't set your tail up, your Uncle Tom. They got you to represent or to bring something so chaotic to the forefront. Why? It's because they're setting it up for the people that out here, y'all. They setting them up. They bringing things to the forefront to get your mind off of what they doing behind the scene. And they ain't doing it behind the scene because the Father already told Satan, you leave that light on. And if he already told Satan to leave the light on and hear this sister see the light, I know what is going on. I'm like, well, where's everybody else at? Y'all don't see it? Yeah, wait a minute. Hold up, Father. Y'all, I know I ain't alone, even though I feel like where everybody else at. I'm trying to find out where everybody else at. Something wrong with that picture. See straight through this man. See that these heathens set him up to bring chaos. This Negro man about in tears because what this little boy said his mother did to him. But I was saying to myself, this man is nowhere near professional. Why are y'all putting him as like he's the highest level FBI on the face of the earth? That's how they used him. But they made him put on a T-shirt, a white T-shirt. Just a plain white T-shirt when he brought the boy out. And when they interview him, he ain't got no clout behind him. And I'm like saying, where's the white people at? Wait a minute. What is this trash? Guess why? They the one prepared him to bring this forth to the news all over, CNN everywhere. And I'm like saying, ooh, they really doing some stuff, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, get your house in order. Get you what you need. And Sister Deborah's still putting away things, even though I know that if I get this, if I get that, I can think of what it can be used for. But you know what? For somewhere in me, I'm not getting it even for myself. That's how I feel. It's like maybe somebody gonna knock me in the head or somebody gonna come get it. I don't know. I don't even feel like it's for me, but it's like it's preparing it because it's something a lot. I ain't gonna say it's a lot. They finna bring out some things, y'all. And it's going to cause everybody to be not like it used to be. Okay. So I say unto you, know what family you're in. It's nothing wrong. This is something I will say to you to share with you. If you are in the spiritual bloodline family, you would have a better relationship with your natural bloodline. Why? Because you got the power of Yah. You got Yah. You got his word. You got his spirit. You see what I'm saying? So if you are already assigned to the spiritual bloodline, then your family in the natural bloodline is blessed and blessed, and they'll never know it. See what I'm saying? You see the point I'm saying? Because Yah never forsaken Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He didn't forsake Solomon. No matter what Solomon did, he didn't forsake him. No matter what David did, he didn't forsake him. Because he was already in the spiritual bloodline. And he made everything well for David in the natural bloodline outside of his family because of what he was doing. All these here people that Yah used, okay, let me tell you something. In the natural bloodline, they caught hell. I know it. Don't let them tell you all this stuff that David had all these wives, Solomon had all these wives, Abraham had wives. They all caught hell. Jacob, if he could come out of his dead, he would tell y'all, let me tell you that my living with those wives, because I laid down with them and I had kids. Because you got to understand, why was y'all allowing the women to be chaotic in the house, going up against each other, trying to see who's going to have another baby by him? And then they go get their handmaid to have babies with their husband. Again, that wasn't set up for righteous. Just like he said he created evil for the days of wicked and evil. Everything he has orchestrated, one to work with the other to cause, like the hot. You won't know that it's hot unless there's cold. So you can't turn around and make Jacob, who is a family of the spiritual bloodline, you can't make all of his children spiritual bloodline. You can't do it. Because the majority of them is flesh bloodline. And they're not going to the eternal heaven. They're not. Y'all keep telling y'all that. But nobody wants to hear it. They want to put these men, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, up on pedestals. You can't put their flesh on pedestals. How about trying what their spirit was doing with Yah? No, they don't want that. They don't want to master what they was doing and how Yah was leading them and how they obeyed Yah and this and that. They don't want that. They want their actions of their flesh so that they can claim it and have their way. They don't want no part of righteous. They want to live in the way that they want to live and use them as a means of them being themselves being able to practice these. And it's a sad thing. It is so sad because I realize every man, every woman is agreeing with polygamy because spiritually they cannot see. Spiritually, they cannot hear. You see, they know no spirit and truth. They know nothing about the light. So they don't know that this is not true. What they're mimicking, the flesh of David, the flesh of Abraham, the flesh of Jacob. Polygamy has no place in righteousness. Polygamy has no place in the bosom of your father. So don't dare try to bring that mess up on my father because he has no place with it. I know the world and all the Hebrew Israelite men and women, they are bringing it up and trying to place it before the righteousness of my Father. And he said, let them alone, Deborah. They think they in the presence of the righteousness. They in the presence of their flesh, calling it righteous. You see? So this is knowing today that there is a spiritual bloodline family. And you can see it in Matthew chapter 1. All of them are the spiritual bloodline. Okay? And then there is a flesh bloodline. That's why they got to be careful when you hear them talking about Abraham. Abraham had two. He had the spiritual bloodline and he had the flesh bloodline. And 99.9 is living out the flesh bloodline. And that's why they're so eager to think that they're going to the promised land. See, they don't give a rest behind about eternal life. See, people who wants to live righteous, they want to see the kingdom. They want to see heavens. They want to live eternal in heaven. But most of them, they don't care nothing about heaven. They just want to go to the promised land and don't understand. Even there's going to be some judgment. There's going to be some throw up and throw down. Okay? A lot of them don't know that, but yes, there is. That's why you're going to remain there, and Satan going to be let loose, you see? But you're going to remain there. And I think it's this. If he said we are our own worst enemies, I think that's where we're going to find out. Without Satan in our midst, we're going to find out how worse of a people we are as an individual ourselves. I really do. Because when he cleaned up, he said, I'm going to clean up your filthiness. Let me tell you exactly what he said. Now listen to this. And then tell me, does this, how deep this is? He said, and then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness and from all your idols. I will cleanse you. Now watch this here. A new heart also will I give you. A new spirit will I put in you. And I will take away your stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgment and do them. 28. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your Yah. Now watch this here. When you drop all the way down in that same chapter to 31, then shall ye remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good. And shall loth yourself in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abomination. See, you think you're getting away with it because you're going over to the promised land. Don't mess with him. You don't know him. You think you know him. See, that's the thing about it. Y'all done painted a picture of who he is, what he is, and y'all done painted a picture in the flesh. But you ain't got to know him in the spirit and know that he ain't about no nonsense. So even though he's going to cleanse your stinky tails, he's going to let you see your ugliness, your abomination, he says, your iniquities, and your doings that were not good. See, we thinking we getting away with it because we talking about, oh, we going to the promised land. Yes, you are. But baby, you don't know what he got prepared for you over there. He's going to clean you up. Sure, he's going to clean you up. He said it was. Put a new heart in you, put his name in you, and everything. But if you drop down, that's in Ezekiel 36, verse 24, all the way down to verse 32. Because she turned around in 32 and said, not for your sake do I do this, said Ahiah. Be it known unto you. Be shamed and confound for your own ways. O house of Israel. See, he gonna check that mess. He's gonna check all this mess. And we thinking we going over to the promised land, gonna have it this way and have it that. No, baby, it's cleansing time. He's gonna show up and show out still yet. So I believe that Satan gonna be bound, but I still believe that we have the true ugliness in us. I really believe it. And because we didn't recognize it on the earth, when he gets you over there, you're gonna recognize it. Because we blamed this person, the heathens, the Gentiles, or we blame Satan did it, or the evil and wicked did it, or the demons did it. But here he's telling you in Ezekiel 36, you're going to get checked once you get over there. All your iniquities and your abomination going to come before you. See? So, wait a minute. Hold up, Father. So, you mean to tell me this is going to be without Satan? He said, Deborah. That's who they blame it on. But a lot of their ugliness and their iniquity and their wicked and evil and they hateful and everything that they are is in their flesh. It's already present. He sat here and tell you a man's household is rotten because of the men in there. You think these brothers going to teach and preach that? No, they ain't. But yet they thinking that he's going to take them over to the promised land. But he'd already handpicked his for the promised land. And what you doing on this earth, that's why he letting you do it. That's why he letting you get away with it. Because he already got a way that his right hand gonna deal with it. See, we think we can overbeat him and overpower him. And he the dumb one, we the smart, we the fools, to be honest. We the dumb one, we the ugly ones, we the stupid ones, we the everything. And he ain't nothing like that. Y'all need to really get to know the Most High Yah. Know him for who he is. And stop thinking that you know him from your fleshly end. And the reason why is because everybody is so geared. Let me tell y'all, a lot of people I've been dealing with from Kansas City, Chicago, Detroit, Pasadena, California, San Diego, California, Missouri. Did I say Kansas City? Mississippi, Arkansas. And I've been talking to these people. And everybody's kind of hung up on family. And I'm like saying, when you try to speak it, the word of the Most High Yah, it's almost like family is more important than anything. But yet they're catching hell from the family. I don't get it. But why are we putting them on the pedestal? Why are we putting them up on high? It don't make sense. And then we take those that Yah is sending to come in the midst to be servants because they are spiritual bloodline family. And we look at them like they stupid. I'm out. I'm gone. Appreciate each and every last one of you all from tuning in. And I hope you got something out of it. And the main thing is understand there's two families. Two families. One in the spiritual realm and one in the flesh realm. Everything Yah does, he does in two. So you can be able to distinguish. I'm going to tell y'all something else he told me today. He said, Deborah, you know how I told you how evil is hand with good? And I said, man has become like us, knowing good and evil. He said, right here today in the year 2023, they separate good from evil as if they can identify good to be good. What is good? Evil is always hiding good. Evil is covering up good. He said, but the truth of the matter, something been missing. One person, what is missing? He says something been covered up. One thing been missing. Anybody in the live chat? Anybody in the live chat? Do you know what that could be? He said, man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. So when he went to the created the garden, and he put the tree of life and other trees, but he called the tree that had evil, he called it good and evil. He called it good and evil. And that was the tree he told them not to take up. Why would Yah tell them not to take of the tree that was good? Because it was detached to the tree that is evil. The tree that is evil was side by side with good. Okay? Flesh and they no. Nope. Now, guess what he was telling me? He said, because when I said to you, if they miss Genesis 1 and 2, then they missed the whole book. He said, what they missed was righteous. You see? Righteous. So in the garden, man was created in righteous already, y'all. He was already created in righteous. But he took of the tree of good and evil. You see? So now his righteousness still rests there as righteous, but he took good and evil and lived out good and evil. We are all born, when we come into this world, we don't sin, right? So we're born into like a form of righteous. And then we begin to sin. So he said, good and evil come hand in hand, but you won't ever get them to preach it nor teach it, because they want to separate good from evil. But people don't understand good and evil. That's how Satan get people to do things, and that's how people do things. Is they want to do good, they want to do things and make it the word good, but it's evil lurking behind what they're trying to proclaim they're doing. That's good. But what you really look for is righteous. That's what he said. It overrides good and evil. Good and evil came in hand to hand. Look at it. Everything that the Father was telling them, don't take of the tree of good and evil. You wonder why Yah didn't, why is Yah telling them not to take of the tree that is good, even though it had evil? But what about the word good? See, we've been told that good is good, but it's not what we think it is. But that's how we've been deceived. But I, Sister Deborah, appreciate each and every last one of you tuning in. And I say, you all have a wonderful night. Oh, it's 10:12. It's not too late, but it's late. And I say to you all, shalom, 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 shalom.